She faced cancer, fought with faith, cried on national TV, and just when it seemed like she was winning, came the silence. In 2023, Preta Gil revealed something no one expected, an aggressive colorectal cancer. 2 years later, on July 20th, 2025, at just 50 years old, she passed away in a New York hospital. What started as a treatment journey turned into a brutal roller coaster, marked by delicate surgeries, exhausting rounds of chemotherapy, sudden infections, and a devastating metastasis. But what exactly killed Preta Gil? Was it the cancer, the complications, or a chain reaction of physiological failures that even top doctors couldn't stop? Today, we'll uncover everything: her clinical timeline, how the disease evolved, what the tests revealed, and why this kind of cancer often kills quietly, even with the best that modern medicine has to offer. What happened? Diagnosis, fight, and decline. The road to New York. In January 2023, Preta Gil was diagnosed with colorectal adenocarcinoma, a malignant cancer affecting the large intestine. The tumor was advanced, but no metastasis was yet detected. She underwent complex surgery, followed by multiple rounds of chemo and radiation. By mid-2023, her doctors declared a partial remission. For a while, things seemed stable. She went back to work, performed on stage, attended events. But in August 2024, the nightmare returned. This time, more aggressively. The cancer had spread, now reaching her lymph nodes, peritoneum, and ureter. That meant it had invaded her abdominal cavity and critical structures, threatening her kidneys, digestion, and immune system. Over the next months, Preta faced more hospitalizations, palliative treatments, and a steady decline in her condition. By May 2025, she sought treatment in the U.S. She was admitted to a New York facility and began an experimental protocol. The goal was to try to slow the disease's progression, but it was already too far gone. Human impact. She wasn't just a singer, she was a symbol. Preta Gil wasn't just a performer. She was one of Brazil's most powerful voices over the last 2 decades, musically and socially. As the daughter of Gilberto Gil, former Minister of Culture and a music icon, she carried the weight and force of a legacy, but she forged her own path, one defined by authenticity, boldness, female empowerment, and fearless self-expression. Her death shook the nation. Celebrities, politicians, fans, and activists flooded social media with heartfelt tributes. The news crossed borders, reported in Spanish, French, English, and Italian. To Brazil, she was a bridge between pop culture and activism. To her family, she was their emotional center. To thousands of women, she was a symbol of strength and honesty in the face of hardship. Her passing wasn't just a loss to music. It was the sudden silence of someone who never feared being fully herself, even when staring death in the face. Mechanism of the attack. When the body begins to break down from within, metastatic colorectal cancer is one of the deadliest forms of the disease. In Preta's case, the primary tumor began in her colon, the part of the large intestine responsible for absorbing water and forming stool. As the cancer progressed, it spread to the lymph nodes, immune system, peritoneum, membrane lining the abdomen, and ureter, tube that carries urine from kidney to bladder. This kind of invasion triggers a series of simultaneous system failures: severe intestinal blockages, kidney failure due to ureter compression, generalized infections from intestinal perforations, aspiration and pneumonia, common in immunocompromised patients, and ultimately multi-organ failure. Despite intensive care, the inflammatory cascade had already begun. Her body was no longer responding. Internal injuries and clinical breakdown. How the body gave up the fight. The most likely final complications in Preta Gil's case include bronchiectasis, permanent structural damage to the airways, caused by repeated infections and weakened immunity. This impairs mucus clearance and makes severe lung infections more likely. Severe respiratory pneumonia, caused by inhaling bacteria from the gut, common in late-stage abdominal cancer. Fluid buildup in the lungs leads to respiratory failure. Acute kidney failure often occurs when the ureter is blocked or infiltrated by cancer. The kidneys stop filtering the blood, causing toxic buildup in the body. Multi-organ failure, the final result of unchecked disease progression. Her body entered metabolic collapse. Heart, lungs, liver, and kidneys began to shut down, one after the other. Despite every effort by her New York medical team, her system could not recover. Medical support in final days, her last return to the hospital. In July 2025, Preta was preparing to return to Brazil. She even filmed a video thanking fans for their prayers, saying she felt better. But behind the scenes, her condition was deteriorating. Days later, her health suddenly crashed. High fever, trouble breathing, dangerously low blood pressure. She was rushed back to the hospital in critical condition. In the ICU, she received antibiotics, oxygen support, dialysis, and full-time monitoring. On July 20th, 2025, around 6 p.m. local time, Preta Gil passed away. The official cause: multi-organ failure due to metastatic colorectal cancer with respiratory and infectious complications. Investigation, repercussions, and legacy. Prevention, legacy, and the uncomfortable questions that remain. Preta Gil's death reignited a national conversation about early screening for colorectal cancer. Brazil's Ministry of Health emphasized the importance of colonoscopy starting at age 45, especially for women with a family history of cancer. Experts warn, colorectal cancer can grow for years without symptoms. By the time it shows signs, it's often advanced. Her case also exposed the harsh reality of expensive limited options for metastatic treatment in Brazil, which drives many patients to seek care abroad. Now, the medical community is discussing special care protocols for public figures and celebrities to ensure privacy and proper response in crisis. As for Preta's legacy, it didn't die with her. She left behind a movement, a voice, a fearless presence, and one haunting question: how many more women will die in silence, simply because they couldn't get a diagnosis in time?